Hi guys, welcome to Courage Beauty. Today I'm going to basically be showing you kind of like my everyday makeup, something that's really easy and fun for just light glam. Thank you to Liquid Courage Cosmetics for sponsoring this free class for you guys. We'll have a little Q&A at the end of this so that way you guys can ask me any questions. So I'm going to just start with my skincare and foundation. Um, Skincare is really, really important. I've already done that before starting this. So I did my like cleanser and my moisturizer. So now I'm just going to start by priming my skin. I'm using the Makeup Forever Step 1 primer. So this you just want to put all over your face. So this is going to help to smooth out the surface of your skin. And then it's going to help your makeup to stay in place all day. So you can just use your fingers and this will just go all over the skin. And I pretty much change my primer based on the look that I'm doing. So like if I'm doing an everyday look, I'm really not going to have that much time to touch up. So that's why I'm using this kind of primer. That way it's going to keep my skin mattified and it'll really keep the product that I put on all day. And then something that I've just recently started using is the essential oils. This is from MAC. I like to mix this in with my foundation because it gives your skin a really, really pretty glow. And I'm using Studio Fix Fluid Foundation. I have to mix two colors just to get the perfect shade. So this is NC45 and NC50. So I'm basically taking a pump of both. And then with the oil, you just want to, so this is the oil on my spatula. I'm just going to drip a little bit of the oil onto the foundation. And just the glow that it gives your skin is like amazing. And I wish I knew about it before. Like I just started using this like a couple days ago. So I'm using a foundation brush and I'm just buffing this all into my skin. And the oil has like chamomile and orange extracts in it. So it smells like really, really amazing. I like using a beauty blender sometimes too, but I definitely feel like this brush gives me better coverage. So that's why I am using this one. And the foundation I'm using is full coverage as well. So sometimes using a beauty blender, you end up having to use too much product. So I'll like go over it with the beauty blender to smooth it out. But as far as like putting on the actual foundation, I like to use a brush. And the brush I'm using is a newer brush. It's the 170, also for MAC. This is what it looks like. Bomb. And it has a really nice like angle to it. So I'm even going to use it for the concealer under my eye. All right, so now the foundation's on. It has a really nice coverage, but it still looks like skin. So what I'll do is I'll take my beauty blender and just wet it a little bit. I'm just using Fix Plus, but you can use water. And then basically you just want to press the foundation into the skin. So I like doing this just so that it doesn't look like foundation like sitting on top of my skin. So it's kind of like you're just marrying like your skin and the foundation together. And then I'm going to take a little concealer. This is the Pro Longwear Concealer. And it looks like this. The color I'm using is NC45. And I'm going to take the same brush. Perfect. And this I'm just pressing under my eye. And then you can go back with the beauty blender and just blend it all in. So you want to use pressing motions because if you rub with your beauty blender, it's just going to lift whatever you're putting on. So that's why I'm just pressing it in. And Pro Longwear pretty much gives you full coverage. If you have like really dark circles, you might want to layer it a little bit or use a thicker concealer. But I like this one because it actually does stay on all day since it's the long wear product. All right, so now we have on our foundation, we have on concealer. So now we can start highlighting. I change my highlight like every day, literally, like it changes every single day. So I'm gonna use Bright Forecast today. I like this one because it's the easiest thing. It has a pen, and you can literally just brush it wherever you want to highlight. So I'm gonna do that under my eye. I don't know, we've all seen like those crazy pictures where it's like super white and then you have the dark for the contour. I don't do all that just because since this is an everyday makeup anyway, we're not going to do that because you don't have enough time for that if you're doing everyday makeup. But if you wanted to, you can definitely do more like the in-depth highlight and contour. So I'm just pressing it using the same beauty blender. And this one is going to provide a really natural highlight since it's part of our prep and prime line. It's part of a prep and prime line. It's just going to provide a really natural highlight, so it's not like over the top. And again, using the beauty blender just because if we were using a brush, it's like it pretty much goes away. The beauty blender keeps the product there. So just remember, blending is the key. You don't want to be in the club and then the flash goes off and you have that white cast around your face. Nobody wants that. All right, so now we can set the highlight. Love this. It is a buttercup powder from Sasha. So before I was using the Laura Mercier translucent powder, but it just seems really, really dry. This seems to be a lot more refined than that one. So this is when we bake. So this, we're just where we put, and then to really do our eyeshadow, if we get any fallout, it'll just fall on top of the shadow and then we can just wipe it away. It doesn't, you don't have to like get a wipe and all that. So really you just want to put this wherever you highlight. And I actually like that it's more of a yellow tint to it because it just gives you a really pretty like cast. So now that we did that, we're going to move on to the eye. So I already did my eyebrows, so I'm just going to prime my eye. I'm just going to use a paint pot. Any eyeshadow primer will work. So this I'm just going to put all over the eye. And you can use your brush, but I like using my finger just so that way you're really like melting it into the skin. And this is what's going to make sure the shadow actually stays on and stays in place. Because if you don't use a primer, your shadow will come off and it'll crease. And you don't want your eyes to crease. So when I'm doing my everyday makeup, I'm doing something that's like super easy, like 2 minutes. I might do liner. It really just depends on how much time I have. So I'm just going to take Saddle eyeshadow with a fluffy brush. And this I'm just going to blend into the crease of the eye. And Saddle is a really good color. It's one of those colors that you can use every single day, no matter what look you're doing. And it just helps to really define the crease of your eye while still giving you shadow. So you really just want to go back and forth and in circles. That way you're really blending it into the skin or into your eye. And since we're doing a Q&A after this, just make sure to start writing down or thinking about questions that you might want to ask, just so when it gets to that time, you're all ready. And really, I'm just layering the product. So it's only one shadow, but I just keep just adding more. That way you get more definition. Like I said, it's super easy, like super easy shadow. So I'm taking just it's kind of like a brown gold shadow. And this, I'm just going to put it all over the eyelid. So I just want to use a pressing motion. This is more of like a cream shadow. So I don't always like using a brush with these just because it does tend to have a little bit of fallout since it has like a little bit of frost in it. Really, you're just pressing it on the lid. So it gives you a little bit of color, but not too much. I'm going to do the same thing. So just pressing on the eyelid like that. And then you can also wet these shadows too if you want them to be a little bit more metallic-y. But again, since it's every day, it's just whatever's quick. And now we can do some eyeliner. Because you can literally have on like the most basic makeup, and if you just add eyeliner, it like changes everything. So I'm just going to use a gel liner with an angled brush. Try to get closer. So I like to start with the wing. Like that. Then you want to draw another line. So it's almost like you're making a little triangle on the end of your eye and then just filling it in. That's the easiest way to start, is to start with a wing. Because I feel like when you don't start with a wing, I know sometimes I end up going like further and further and further, and then you have a wing into your hairline. So now you can just fill in like that blank space. But the biggest thing with eyeliner is you want to make sure that you're doing it in steps. You don't want to try to do it all in one sweep, because that's when you tend to mess it up. So see, I'm basically doing it in steps. So I start with the wing, now I did the center, and now I'm going to do the front. So definitely try doing your liner in 3 steps and then see if you see a difference versus trying to do it all in one sweep. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Again, starting with the wing. And then try and get to the front. And then doing the same thing in the front.